Actually the hero of this whole Epstein saga, according to Mike Johnson at least. Take a look.
Unspeakable evil. He believes that himself. When he first heard the rumor, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. He was an FBI informant to try to take this stuff down.
There you have it, Donald Trump, the hero, the FBI informant. That's why he kicked Epstein out. Except if you take Donald Trump's own fucking words for it, about a month and a half out of Trump's own fucking mouth, he said he kicked him out for stealing workers that included young women. What a story as I'm heading off to happy hour in the war zone of Chicago, Illinois. Jesus fucking Christ, the Republicans and GOP, they have lost their fucking minds.
Donald Trump was only all through the Epstein files because he was a double secret agent sent in by the FBI to infiltrate Epstein's empire. Yeah, and he essayed that 13-year-old girl as part of the ruse. Right, MAGA?
I'm sorry, what? Speaker of the House Mike Johnson just said that Donald Trump doesn't think that what Epstein did to these girls is a hoax. He would never do that because Donald Trump was an FBI informant tasked with taking Jeffrey Epstein down. Information is going to rock the world and people are going to demand more details after this statement. Yes, it could explain why the two had a close relationship, but first and foremost, is anyone even going to believe it? Or is this just another way to distract from getting the information that the public and the victims deserve? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. How much more fantasy can the White House and MAGA Republicans come up with about the Epstein files? So Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, is now saying that Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI to investigate Jeffrey Epstein. And the president says, yes, it needs to all come to an end because it's all done. Doesn't need to be anything else. Well, there's 100,000 pages that haven't been released publicly. But you've got the Speaker of the House now saying that Donald Trump was an informant for the FBI. Now, if I'm an informant for something, should I be battling so hard to not release files that I was the one who actually helped get this person indicted? So I was the good guy, but I don't want anybody to see me in those files because I'm the good guy? Now, who believes that's true? But folks, this is what happened today. They're saying Donald Trump was a FBI informant. That's where the Epstein files came from.
Donald Trump said that he's done all he's going to do on the Jeffrey Epstein files, that the FBI has done its job. He's released these files. What they've released is actually the same information that's been released in the public realm before. There was nothing new there. And that the FBI has done and the Department of Justice have done a great job. And it's time to move on and we need to forget about it. He's not going to do anything else. What? What? After Donald Trump campaigned and campaigned and campaigned on releasing the Jeffrey Epstein files, having all this information come out, and now all of a sudden it stopped. Donald Trump, why has it stopped? Donald Trump, whose name, when Pam Bondi had those 1,000 FBI agents go through the files, whose name did they find all through the files? Donald Trump, anybody, any name that you happen to recognize, any other friends of yours maybe that you recognize, any other Republican millionaires and billionaires, any princes that you noticed, maybe any royalty from any other countries around the world that may have used these services? Who are you protecting, Donald Trump? Why have you stopped it all now? We all know why. Release the Jeffrey Epstein files, Donald Trump. This is far from over, and we will not stop until all the files, unredacted, are released. Let me know what you think. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my crazies, my cuckoos, my Brenda light bulbs. Donald Trump's done. He's done his job right. You did your job all right, and we want to see what you did. It's in the files. Love to hear from everybody.
Did y'all hear Mike Johnson say that Dookie Booty was an FBI informant on the Epstein case? Now, let me take you back to the interview with Michael Wolff when he explains the real reason why Epstein and Dookie Booty fell out.
Epstein's explanation for why this friendship ended is as follows. In 2004, Epstein believed himself to be the high bidder on a piece of real estate in Palm Beach, a house. $36 million was his bid. He took his friend Trump around to see the house to advise him on how to move the swimming pool. Trump thereupon went around Epstein's back and bid $40 million for the house and got the property. Epstein, who was well acquainted, in fact, deeply involved with Trump's scattered finances, understood that he didn't have $40 million to pay for this house. Now, if that was the case, it was someone else's $40 million. At the time, Epstein believed this to be the $40 million of a Russian oligarch by the name of Rivalite. Less than 2 years later, this same house that Trump had bought for $40 million was sold for $95 million. And it was, in fact, sold to Mr. Rivalite. This is all a red flag of money laundering. And what Epstein did, and he was furious about losing this house. Epstein, after the sale of this house, after Trump went around his back, got this house, Epstein began to threaten him. He began to threaten him with lawsuits. He began to threaten him with going to the press and saying that Trump was a front man for a money laundering deal. Trump panics at this point. And Epstein believed, and he believed to his dying day, that it was Trump who went to the police, Trump who was fully acquainted with what was going on at Epstein's house, fully acquainted for many years. Trump went to the police and, as Epstein said, dropped the dime on him. That is to say, informed the police of what was going on, and an investigation began, and all of Epstein's legal problems for the next 15 years began to unfold. This story about this piece of real estate and their falling out was first published in June 2019. It's published actually in my book, Siege, the second book I'd written about the Trump White House. Epstein had recounted this story to me. I put it in this book. Epstein, at that moment, was in Paris. He read the book. He called me with some alarm, and he said he was afraid that he might have said too much. 3 weeks later, he returned to the United States from Paris and was promptly arrested on the tarmac of Teterboro Airport.
So all old Mikey did was confirm Michael Wolff's story. Dookie Booty turned Epstein in because Epstein gave that information to Michael Wolff that he published in his book. And he said, oh, you want to talk about my stuff and try to blackmail me? I'm going to go straight to the FBI. You want to go to a journalist? I'll go to the FBI. And I'm going to tell them everything that you're doing. And I'm going to make sure I get a deal so I don't go down with you. That's all that was. So thank you for confirming Michael Wolff's story.
Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, is now claiming that Donald Trump is an informant for the FBI and helped the FBI stop Jeffrey Epstein. Yes, I'm serious. If Donald Trump was this FBI informant, theoretically, he should want his heroism on full display by releasing the Epstein files to show the public what he did to inform on Jeffrey Epstein. Meanwhile, Trump is actively considering strikes deep inside Venezuela right now to possibly topple the Maduro regime. They've already struck a narco-terrorist boat, according to the administration, in the Southern Caribbean. Now we're learning that they want to strike deeper into Venezuela, into a possible full-scale war between the United States and Venezuela. The peace president is looking to possibly strike within the regime. Now, here is the thing. Experts say that, how is this legal? He needs congressional approval to do a lot of this stuff. Will he seek that approval out? Likely not. U.S.-South Korean relations are being strained right now because of a massive ICE raid at a facility, a Hyundai facility in Georgia that was being built to build the vehicles here in the United States. Over 400 individuals were detained, many of them Korean. And right now, South Korea has vowed to essentially ensure that these individuals get due process, that and is really blasting the Trump administration for conducting this massive raid. There are a lot of stories that we're covering right now. Check them out all below. As always, if you want to support my work, make sure to subscribe to support or send a one-time donation via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas for programming purposes. I expect, hopefully this afternoon, this evening, to have another interview with an Epstein survivor that's going to be in your inbox either this evening or tomorrow morning. And then I'm going to continue interviewing as many survivors as possible over the weekend and over the next week to share their stories, because their stories cannot die, especially as the White House really wants it to. Trump is saying that the Justice Department has done its job. I don't think it has. I think the Epstein files need to be released in full, and they haven't yet. So I hope everyone has an amazing Saturday morning, and I'll see you this evening.
MAGA. Did you happen to see any of what that convicted felon that you worship had to say today during his cabinet meeting? One of the things he said had to do with Jeffrey Epstein. He was asked about the Epstein files and why they're not being released and what happened to the client list that people in his administration have been saying exist. Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, just recently said that it was sitting on her desk and that she was reviewing it and would soon be releasing it. Now they say, oh, there is no client list. Anyway, he was asked about all that Epstein stuff, and your Orange God King cult leader reacted quite angrily. Why are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? He said. Why are we talking that? I don't want to waste my time talking about that. We shouldn't be talking about Epstein. So you get that, MAGA, you mindless cultists? Shut up. Stop talking about the Epstein files. Nobody cares about that. At least that's what he wants you to believe.
Speaker Mike Johnson really wants us to believe that Donald Trump was an FBI informant sent in to take down Jeffrey Epstein. First, it was release the files. Then, the files are on my desk. Then, there are no files. After that, the files are a hoax made up by Democrats. Now, actually, Trump was working undercover for the FBI. This is ridiculous. We're supposed to believe that Trump was infiltrating Epstein's circle while also partying with him, while also being accused of doing inappropriate things with young girls. That's really not undercover work. That's just like participation. And for those of you who don't know, this is what gaslighting looks like. They are not going to erase the past. They're going to rewrite it until enough people forget what actually happened. Trump is not Batman. He was not out saving the country from Epstein. He was hanging out with him. How many more times are they going to shift this story before we stop letting them? The truth isn't changing. Only their excuses are. He's in those damn files. And even if he isn't, who cares? Everyone who is needs to be taken down. Tomorrow, today, yesterday. It's crazy. How are we protecting these monsters?
Was this another Trump 4D chess move? The whole debacle about the Epstein files, he got not only all of us, the majority of MAGA, to get pissed off and get loud, but he also got the Democrats to be like, release it, release it. What am I referring to? Pat Bondi was in New York filing paperwork to release all the information that's sealed in the court cases in New York. And she's also been to or on the way to Florida to do the same thing for the Epstein court case in 2010, where he got a slap in the wrist. Did he use us all to create public outcry and to get the Democrats to scream, yeah, release it all? Because Kash Patel on the Joe Rogan show in June said, there's a lot of stuff we can't get our hands on because it's sealed in court cases. Was this all orchestrated and we all fell for it? And if so, I was one of them. I was upset and I was screaming from the rooftops. So they got me too. if that's the case. But it kind of looks like it. Now all of a sudden they're filing to get all the paperwork.
America, let me be blunt. If the Epstein list stays hidden, your kids aren't safe, my kids aren't safe, nobody's safe. So here's what's happening. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are taking things into their own hands. They're compiling their own Epstein list because the Department of Justice won't release it. Hey, Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi lied and said she had it, but now she won't release it. Trump's people are claiming they're going to release it. However, they're also saying they're going to make sure only Democratic names are on that list. How convenient, huh? Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. Thomas Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes, I know. I am as shocked as you are. Say they're ready to read the survivors list of who preyed on them on the House floor. And I know you're thinking why. Well, it's because members of Congress are immune to prosecution due to the speech and debate clause when they're on the floor of the House. That means the names can finally be exposed, not for politics, but to protect the victims. Because if we sweep this under the rug, if we just let the Epstein files thing just dissipate like it's nothing, then what we're really saying is this: exploitation of kids, women, communities is just normal. And once it is normalized, nobody is safe. So you know what I'm telling y'all? Don't sit quiet on this. Demand Congress release the full unredacted list and files. Call your reps, flood their emails, tag them on social media. If you want your kids protected, if you want women safe, then you better want the truth to be dragged out into the light, because sunlight is the only disinfectant we have left.